I just loved my Karita's concept for this MWA anthology, When a Stranger Comes to Town, because it's just kind of a truth of life, isn't it? You know, you're just standing around minding your own business and somebody shows up. Could be great news, love at first sight, could be bad news, serial killer. Anyway, in my case, a 6-letter word for neighbor is about a reclusive young writer who has a lot of issues, and she is greatly unsettled by the arrival of a creepy new neighbor who's moving in next door. I hope you love it.
Hi, I'm honored to have a story in this year's Mystery Writers of America Anthology, A Stranger Comes to Town, edited by the wonderful Michael Karita. My story is called To See, and it's about a stranger who comes to town on an airplane and changes a widow's life forever in surprising ways. I hope you enjoy it and the entire collection.
My story is called Avalon, and I took the idea of a stranger comes to town and made it a stranger comes to the island. The island is Catalina, the town is Avalon, and there's one detective assigned to the island. It's off the coast of Los Angeles, Nick Searcy, and he watches the ferry every morning to see who's coming to his town, and he sees a guy get off and he can tell he's carrying a gun, and that's enough mystery and intrigue for him and for us to go from there.
I had been married to Jonathan Witt for 10 years and was home alone with our young children when I got a phone call telling me that Jonathan Witt was missing. That was when I learned that my husband had a cousin with the same name and almost the same birth date. They even looked alike. The other Jonathan was a good man. But what if he hadn't been? And what if he'd come back?
How smart do you have to be to kill a genius? I'm about to find out.
Percy Fletcher is a big man who lives on a big boat. His mate is a giant schnauzer. When they sail down to South Brooklyn, they enter a community of Russian Jews, where he's a big stranger, especially once they find out he's there to assassinate somebody. I hope you enjoy the action. Thanks.
Appearance is everything when a man arrives at a short town and finds himself facing a life-changing choice, inspired by real events.
On an Amtrak train bound for Virginia Beach, a man approaches a young college girl on her way to meet friends for spring break. Another man witnesses the approach and knows immediately that the girl is in danger. Will he be able to warn the girl in time? And more important, will she believe him? Or will she believe in instant friendship until the bitter end?
My story is called Ruskies, and it starts in a bomb shelter on a farm in Indiana during the Cold War. And in 13 pages, it covers the life of a cop named Owen James Ames, who concludes after a lifetime in law enforcement that the Russians aren't really the strangers. The strangers are the neighbors in the farm down the road.
In my story, Do You Remember, Harmon Bales loves his wife, and he's just hoping to protect her. So when he wakes one morning to sirens flashing outside the house where she once lived and where she suffered a terrible childhood tragedy, he goes to investigate in hopes of shielding her from further trauma. Instead, Harmon discovers the truth of what happened in that house all those years ago.
My story is called Perfect Strangers, and it's about an ex-con who creates multiple false identities in order to rob a marijuana dispensary, as one does.
In Tokyo Stranger, join Mr. Sasaki as he reluctantly chauffeurs a teenage call girl to a Yakuza crime boss. Come for the sights and sounds of Tokyo. Stay for the murder.